Kate's question. She says, hello, gentlemen. A few podcasts back, Jonathan mentioned that he asked his wife if she would ever compete in cycling, and she replied that it was not friendly. I feel like a lot of people can probably, remember at first when I picked up mountain biking, and then a friend of mine told me that I should try a road race, and I was like, never. Like, it's so elite and cutthroat and not nice,
Yeah.
At least that was my assumption. My perspective's changed.
My theory is that we're all just so scared it's hard to be nice.
Yeah, that's a real. I bet that's actually like really close
There's
to
a
the
lot
truth.
of fear.
There's a lot of nice people. I think there's just a few. At least I've never raced a women's race, but there's a few alphas
Totally.
that they shout higher than everyone else, and they kind of brand everybody.
Yeah,
It's true that you get the same people off the bike, and
they're nice.
The nicest folks.
I know, but on the bike, there's like in a race, all it takes is like 2 alphas on the bike at a 50-person race who yelling at everyone. Everyone goes,
it really changes
so mean.
the whole vibe.
Yeah. So don't be that person.
Yeah, I think fear. That's a really good point,
shut
Chad.
up
I think
and do your
fear is
work.
at the root of it too. When people get nervous, they change their behavior.
Oh yeah,
And
they have less. If you're scared and you think someone's doing something that will endanger you, you're no longer nice.
it's fight or flight.
Yeah,
Hackles are up, and you're ready to fight.
Yeah, you either hit the brakes or you yell at them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she says, later in a podcast, you guys were discussing gravel races as a friendlier starter scene. I'm a year into cycling and looking to try pinning a number on my back, but I don't know what scene is best. Are gravel races more beginner racer friendly than road races? What about in terms of races with bigger women's fields? What scene is best for starters? One quick thing on this that I want to share, like just really big kudos to the Colorado Classic. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that's it was the Tour of Colorado or whatever it was called, USA Pro Challenge. But they actually completely dropped the men's race this year and made it just a women's race.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Which is awesome because we have, on the other side of things, like everybody dropping more and more women's races, it seems like, from these big pro tour events. So that's really cool. We're going to be speaking a little bit out of our element in terms of what's best in terms of women's racing specifically, but we'll speak in generalities in terms of our experience in different racing formats and what we found, and perhaps from observations.
I think I've actually coached more women riders than male riders.
Oh, cool.
So.
Yeah. And then the one thing that I want to add is that there's a plug there's a brand called Machines for Freedom, and they make kit and apparel and that sort of stuff. But really, they also they're big advocates for women's cycling. And if you stay in tune with that brand, you'll be brought up to speed on what events are really, really good for women, because
cool.
I follow them and
What's the
I get
brand
a ton
again?
of value from that. Machines for Freedom.
Machines for Freedom. Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I get a lot of value out of that because I see where the trends are going. Like, these people are actually focusing on building things specifically for women's racing, that sort of stuff.
So we talked about this. Chad, you haven't heard this yet. So maybe we should go through and then you can agree with us or disagree with us and why.
Sure.
And Jonathan and I disagree a little bit down
We do.
the rain. So first one, I think we both said triathlon.
It feels like the least
Full agreement.
It is so friendly.
It's a welcoming environment.
The vibe is so friendly. You can do a road bike. If you're at the bigger events, they're closed courses.
Yeah.
Smaller events, they're not. It doesn't matter what speed you go. You can get dropped. You can go your own pace. You can stop on the side of the road for a little bit and talk to somebody.
I want to share an experience that will illustrate this. I've never seen this happen in a road race, but in transition at a local triathlon, I saw a girl struggling with getting her bike all set up and pulled out of the rack and everything else. So competitors, just like in triathlon, they stop and they help her out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but in road racing, you're never going to see somebody.
People will see that and be like, right on.
Yeah, exactly. Like they see a person with their number pinned in a way that's billowy, and they're like, awesome, he's going to lose 5 watts on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's it's very different.
My wife, she's never changed a tire because I've changed them all for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she was doing triathlon, and I said, okay, we'll put the pack on here. If you get a flat, someone nice will stop and help you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You can try to figure it out. She didn't want to practice, but it's even pros. Lance Armstrong said he's never changed a flat before, and Chrissy Wellington famously on Ironman, she got a flat. She had never changed a flat tire before. And Ironman world champs.
Yeah.
And a competitor actually gave her a CO2.
Which is crazy because that's at the pro level.
And she lost. I know other women in that field were pretty mad about that because Chrissy lost 5 minutes there. She came back and won by 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if she didn't have the CO2, she wouldn't have won, and someone else would have been Ironman champ.
We'll get to mountain biking in a bit, but Chloe Woodruff actually did the same thing this year at Oztrails, the Epic Rides race. They were coming down to the finish, and she was with Aaron Huck, and they both got flats, and it was swapped wheels. One had a flat front, one had a flat rear. and she actually ended up giving her rear wheel to the other ones, and so then Aaron Huck could finish. So like it's pretty rare, but it's really cool to see.
So for triathlon too, you don't even have to wear the gear. You could wear like baggies. If you're not a runner or swimmer, what you do is you do a relay with some friends. You find a swimmer and a runner, and you can get that feeling of being in a race and other people around you, but you're not that close because you can't draft. You should be doing other rides outside with other people anyways, but it's the ultimate beginners. Totally. It's very accepting. Everyone's nice.
Yeah. Thereafter, I feel like, and there's two kind of things, right? There's the vibe surrounding the racing, and then there's the technicality or complexity of the racing, right?
Yeah, they're both important.
And they're both really important. I feel like time trials is one where there's actually not a whole lot of technicality. There's a lot of equipment stuff, but you don't need a TT bike. You can just ride whatever bike you have. But it's not a lot of technicality. And on top of that, in most cases, since it's a 1x1 starting event, I find that at time trials, it's a little bit more of a relaxed vibe, when you're waiting for the race.
Personally, I would have pushed this farther down the list. Is this list in order?
Yep.
Of friendliness? Yeah, I would have pushed that down below gravel and probably even cyclocross, maybe even mountain biking, simply because it's still kind of an intimidating atmosphere. People show up with funny bikes. I mean, just crazy high dollar bikes. They're all geared out. Everyone's very serious. Well, not everybody, but 99 out of 100 riders are very serious. It doesn't strike me as I wouldn't steer some first-time racer to a 40K TT.
So I'm the opposite, is that I think of myself included, my sister, my wife, people who I get into the sport, they don't have handling skills. And when they get to those mixed surface ones, it is terrifying. Like, they'd much rather see a funny bike than think that they're going to break their collarbone and stuff.
I just don't think TT's that enjoyable either. It's just not a fun undertaking.
But for you, Nate, you love TTs.
Yeah, my wife, she likes that because she doesn't have to ride in a pack. She wants to do uphill TTs because that would be her kind of strength.
And you like the analytical side of it, and I guess that
there's no tactics. It's just power too, which is fun. It's how deep you can go. So if you're brand new, I'm not saying you have to do this forever, but it's a good way to get your toes more into the water.
No, there's a lot to be gained from it. I admit that. It's just not one of the friendlier scenes relative to those others.
On the friendly side of things, I think gravel, you mentioned it, but like
gravel's super friendly.
Very inclusive, super friendly.
It's like the triathlon of
non-triathlon.
Yeah, non-triathlon.
Yeah, exactly. It's super comfortable in terms of, you even see you'll show up and you'll reg, but when you register, like, people are relaxed and happy and having fun. It's not like the kind of nerves that you feel at a normal road race. In many cases, the feed zones are like really fun with gravel races social. Too.
Yeah, they say races, but a lot of these gravel things, they're not.
Totally.
Like, the top people are racing, but you can stop for literally 20 minutes at a aid station.
Oh, yeah.
Stop for an hour if you want to.
Yeah, it's very much a ride, for everybody doing it. And I feel like gravel, for those that want to understand the psychology of gravel a bit, I feel like what it is it's a direct and an opposite response to road racing in a lot of ways, in the sense that people are, people that want to break from that intensity and that cutthroat nature and just being stuck onto the road. It's like kind of the opposite of all of that. So you get a lot of people.
A playful version of road racing.
Yeah. I think they're really friendly. Honestly, probably the most fun I had last year in a race was the Sagan Fondo, the Dune Fondo.
That's great too.
So the only thing that's the downside of this is the mixed surface. Totally. My sister just got a cross bike. She was doing gravel racing, or just riding on like fire roads. She hit a turn and just bam, wiped out because she doesn't know how to turn. Where on the road it would have been perfect, but it's completely different. And especially some of these races, you get really fast downhills. Yeah. If you're not
courses are quite technical. I mean,
exactly.
Really challenging. So if you have the option, if you're going to pick a particular bike to venture into the world of bike racing, get a mountain bike and do gravel races.
Yeah, it really does help a lot.
Not a cross bike.
Yeah. And if you're, it depends. So I totally agree. And if it's a more technical one, I still ride mountain bikes on like Sagan Fondo, but if it was something like Belgian Waffle, where it's not technical and it's just really you're not even turning, you're just going straight. Right. Then you could do. I mean, they do road bikes on that with road tires.
Yeah, good riders do. Yeah. And I guess touching or going from there, you bring up something interesting that, like, for new riders, they don't have the proper technique. So since they weren't on the road and they were on gravel, in the case of your sister, that she fell, and really it was probably technique and understanding how to ride the bike in that scenario. Yep. And that's what I find cyclocross, the next one. Like, cyclocross is so good for building those skills because it's usually low speed, lower consequence in the just that you're on grass a lot of the time.
Yep.
So you fall over and it's not too bad. The pedals are easier to get in and out of. The shoes are easier to walk in. That's another thing for gravel, you know, instead of
and a big selling point, it's a closed course.
Yep. There's no cars are going to hit you. There's not really, maybe at the beginning there's pack riding, but you can just wait a couple seconds.
Probably not going to have a bear or a deer jump out on a trail ride. No, that's a real.
Totally.
I had a
concern.
bear come out. Yeah.
Did I tell you guys about? I went over the bars this year because I saw 3 bears.
Yeah,
So
it's the
You just
stuff
saw
of-
them.
it's the
They
stuff
wouldn't
of
get-
nightmares.
going down a scary section of trail that's extremely steep, 3 bears run across the trail, and I panic and lose focus and I crash. That's the worst time to crash is when there are bears right in front of you.
Yeah.
But it's a definite.
So the
concern.
idea.
The thing about cross though that's really cool here is the fact that cross has it's not. I wouldn't say it's quite as relaxed as gravel, but cross definitely has a party atmosphere to it. So this is one where you can build the skills in a low consequence environment and kind of strike a balance with having an environment that's not quite as intense. So this is like one of the spots where I feel like growth potential is really high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The front end of the race, the pointy end, is highly intense.
Yep.
But the rest of it, I mean, there are people taking beer hand ups, dollar hand ups.
Same with
bacon.
triathlon, even. I mean, the front end is highly intense.
Yep.
The reason why I like this order for developing a rider is because before they get into a road race, they're going to be really good at handling a road bike. If you can handle a road bike and cross
Oh, yeah.
on the road,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's easy. Everything seems like
It's a great
easier.
place to learn handling. And,
Getting on and off the bike, unclipping and clipping in. Like when you're on the road, and it happens to everybody, you clip in the first time. One of the
Flop
first times
over.
you flop
yeah.
over.
will happen. Still happens.
But you do it 100 times in cross, like during a race and with warm up. If you fall on grass, right?
Yeah.
You can pick grass courses,
Yeah.
but you get so much better at it. It
Carries the trail riding really nicely too.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm always impressed, still to this day, even having raced cross loosely for a couple of years, when I see a mountain biker come off the bike for whatever reason, do a cross remount in a mountain bike race.
Yeah.
It's just impressive. It shows they're a well-rounded rider probably,
Yeah.
but it's just a cool thing to see.
And it's a good skill to have.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
On the mountain, so I would say, in my perspective, mountain biking comes next. But I don't think cross. So there are 2 main disciplines of mountain biking. There's cross country Olympic. You could probably lump short track into that in this case at least. And then there's cross country marathon. So those are like all the epic rides races. Those are all the longer, more endurance focused stuff. We're talking 3 hours or longer usually is what people have. I feel like those, especially epic rides events, those events are fun. Like there's nerves and everything else when you're at the starting line, but it's not a serious road race vibe.
So that's the vibe is fun, but the technicality is so much harder, I think, than the last 2 road and crit. It's such a high skill level. I think with the last epic rides, I crashed like 6-7 times.
Yeah.
I still have scars on my body from that.
And that's just mountain biking, like in general.
But
it's
you
more
have the
complex.
option to get off the bike and walk something that's scary. You can't get off the bike and walk a technical course, a technical section of a criterium course.
Yeah,
That's a
but
good point.
I'd argue though, if you've gone through our little progression and you've done cross, you're really going to be fine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The thing about mountain biking that I feel like is more appealing to people is in many cases, in the majority of cases, there's no pack riding element and it's lower speed.
It's lower absolute injury level too, because you don't. Mountain biking, the worst is like a collarbone, and that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
When you crash, it hurts, but it doesn't
Right.
put you out for
In
a long
road,
time.
if you don't break a collarbone when you crash, it's a miracle.
It's like everyone's like, yes, good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the road rash is much, much worse.
Oh, much worse.
in road riding.
Yeah, and I feel like there are more organizations doing more to make mountain biking more inviting than there are road organizations trying to make road more inviting. And that, I think, helps with the vibe a lot. Cross Country Olympic is where things get a little bit more serious. You can totally do it. And the nice part about Cross Country Olympic is the fact that it's on a short course. And if you're in a lower category, they aren't going to have anything really dangerous on those courses. So the nice part about that,
Depends on the race.
relatively speaking, yeah,
Depends on the race organizer.
that's very true.
We know some that
Yeah.
it's like they don't care. They're like I remember one in Reno. They put a downhill section in the cross country.
Yeah.
That's where I think of like new riders. I couldn't walk down the section.
Not pointing downhill, but we mean like the classification of racing downhill.
Yeah,
So very
something
sketchy.
where I could not walk down
Like
it.
an enduro stretch.
No, it was
worse.
downhill.
Even worse.
It's called downhill.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's pretty. It was
You
pretty,
cannot walk down it.
pretty
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
So it depends on the race.
Totally. What you usually find, with cross country Olympic races, is that it's a short loop and you repeat it 4 times, 6 times, maybe even 8 times, right? That's getting closer to short track, but you can repeat a loop. So the nice part about that is that it can be something controlled in a small area, so you don't feel like you're getting super far away. And then also the other benefit of this is the fact that you can session something, and you session it by nature. So you basically can get more familiar with these things on the course. There's less mystery about what's coming up. There's less fear.
Yeah, same goes for cross racing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cross is a much better example of that, I think. Yeah.
And
then I would put road racing after that. And then I would put criteriums. I would put criteriums last in some respects, because I feel like road racing is less physically confrontational, in the sense that, like, in criterium racing, I feel like there tends to be a lot more what is the late Paul Sherman would always say, argy-bargy, in the sense that, like, there was a lot of actual contact happening. I see less of that in a road race, but I can see how a road race would be more intimidating, because many times they're longer, or any other thing.
I'd say too that I guess I've done some mixed categories, and in general the women are much more friendly than the men.
I've noticed this,
right?
Yeah.
So
far less posturing.
The progression we just gave you is like, wow, I'm not going to do a crit for many, many years.
Right.
Jump right in.
If this is what I recommend, you get a cross bike with disc brakes that you can switch from cross tires to road tires.
Yep.
And then you do locally you find the group that helps you ride in a pack. You do cross. But then for the crit and roads, you do the crits early, but you do the lower categories and smaller fields. Sometimes, especially for women fields, there might be 5, 8 women in it.
Yeah.
In lower category, everyone's there to learn and have fun. That's a great way to get in early.
Yeah.
I wouldn't jump into the maybe a Sea Otter where there's a 50-person field right away.
Yeah, especially considering with women's road racing, and I know they're changing it, I believe this year, is basically women's 1, 2, 3. You all race together. So it doesn't matter if you're a 3 or a pro, you all race together. And now they're breaking that into 2 different categories, so the racing will be a little more segregated. Essentially, you don't have to race with the high-level racers on your first go at it.
But if you're brand new too, and you're not the best fitness, sometimes a flat crit can be much easier to hang and have fun. And if it's a smaller group than a road race, so you don't have to go through the whole thing. But if you were to build an athlete from scratch, this would be a pretty good. Pretty good progression.
I feel like we've done all of these events now. Well, I haven't done triathlon, but we've done.
Neither of you guys.
I know.
We're missing one, guys.
Chad's
I've done relays and I've done duathlons, but I have
that
not
does
done
not
triathlon.
No,
I know.
What Ironman do you guys want to do?
Oh gosh, stop with that talk right now. That would be so rough.
If you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up.
If you didn't like this video, you can give it a thumbs down, but let us know what you would have done differently in the comments below.
If you want to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to become a faster cyclist, check out TrainerRoad.com.
Do it.